Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the SMITE update. I'm here with my co-host Octane Pro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like it's been forever since we've done this. It's been a few weeks, but so much has transpired in Smite. It's been nuts. What about you? How you been? What have you been playing?
I'm in SMITE, of course. SMITE all the time, every day, all day. Enjoying,
Sure.
the new God Apollo. We're gonna touch on it, a minute
Yep.
here or so, and just all the stuff that's going through, and just all the action. And of course, we had packs, and we had all that, all the crazy tournament action going down, and the
Sure.
show matches, and just so much in SMITE to love. I'm just really excited about all that stuff.
Yeah. PAX was amazing. It was a lot of fun. A few little bumpy points for little. So it seemed like the feedback from the community, especially the teams, was a little down on it. I mean, I know it was really like Hi-Res's first major Smite tournament, but all said and done, I mean, it was great entertainment from a viewer perspective. It was really great to see, and we got to see some of the top two teams in the community go ahead and compete for that first place. So I enjoyed it. It was really nice to go through and actually review some of the replays as well. So yeah, PAX was pretty much, I think, the last big tournament. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the weeklies and the monthlies that are going on, all that stuff, but it was the biggest one to date, definitely.
Sure.
So something to look at that, and
Sure.
it just looking at it and watching it go through really inspires me for how the 100K is going to go through, because they're like that next big stepping stone, and obviously the
Yep.
teams came out and learned a lot about playing live and playing against
Sure.
their competitors in a live setting,
Yeah.
and now taking that experience and heading into the next 100K, whenever that may be, and figure that out. It's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We don't really have much details at all. Just, hey, there's a 100K tournament coming sometime in the future here. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I want to see what teams qualify for it. The big thing for me that I really want to see is, how are the teams treated? Are the teams flown in? Is that on the team's buck? What is the layout? I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, I've been following MLG for several years. I've been to several MLGs, and I mean, MLG gets crap from players on conditions, on all that types of stuff. So I'm really eager to see what's uncovered. Anyways, it's all speculation, but the 100K tournament should be really cool.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get into the Smite update here, guys. We're just going to cover a lot and try to get caught up on everything that we missed. But I think, and Octane and I both agree on this, that the best point to start is going to be the god of music, the talented, the wonderful Apollo, who,
Yep.
I mean, really has had a lot of mixed reviews and people
Sure.
hating him, loving him, thinking he's, bad, or just generally hating his personality. Overall, he's kind of stuck up.
Yeah.
But let's just go ahead and hop into the character. If you haven't had a chance to play him, you will see him on screen, a pre-recorded match there of me just playing around on Apollo. But, his passive is called Audacity, and I think this is one of the strongest passives in the game currently for a lot of reasons. But basically, if you look on the screen, I don't know if it's actually showing the bar or not. It is showing there. So above the portrait, you'll see that little bar. What that is every time he lands a basic attack, he will get a stack of Audacity. This stacks up to 10 times, and his third ability will also give him stacks as well. But once he hits that cap, once he gets 10 stacks and the bar fills up, his next 5 attacks are doubled attack speed. So, what do you think about this passive?
I love it. It's so much fun. I just finished doing like a 3-game series on Apollo, and it was only my first. It was probably my. I literally played him in like the mock-up arena style and joust for maybe like 2 minutes. I went in each one and like tried them out. I was like, all right, these are his abilities. This is how they work. All right, let's dive right into a conquest. And believe it or not, I actually got him. It was quite difficult to get him, but I actually got him 3 games in a row. And I love Apollo. He is so much fun, and it's so cool. Like, I feel like somebody from like the Matrix with like double pistols like, running around, and then all of a sudden they kick in. And you're like, boom, 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 boom. I love it. I think his passive is really good. It's very strong though, very strong for a just an auto attack, really.
Yeah, it was funny. I got Apollo early, or a little bit late. I got to play him late. But the first game, I queue up, right, and I pick Apollo, and I get in the game, and I look, and Shing's on the enemy team playing a physical carry, and I'm like, oh my god. And of course, he's in my lane, and I get to the lane, and the first 5 seconds, him and his lane mate are just going at us towards the tower. I'm like, what? Trying to play Apollo, please. Come on, Shing. Come on. But yeah, I think his passive is very, very strong. And it makes people build him a little bit incorrectly, I think, because they kind of focus too hard on the attack speed. But definitely a very powerful passive. So let's go ahead and hop into the first ability that Apollo has called So Beautiful, and it is so beautiful as he plays his harp, shooting out a musical note, which will pass through walls, it'll pass through minions, it'll pass through gods, doing physical damage to everyone it hits. On a pretty short cooldown, it's basically just his general nuke. It's a line skill shot, it doesn't have a cone or anything like that, but definitely some good burst that comes out of it. Have you played around with it?
Yeah, I really like it. Some of the things we'll notice just through all of his abilities here and his spells are that they all stack really well together. They all combo together very well. I mean, we'll get into the second and the third ability, but I mean, I love his core three abilities. They really go well together, and this is like a really good foundation. So I'm very happy with it. I don't think it's, he's a new god, and a lot of times with Smite we've seen in the past where they have a very common record of like, hey, they release a god and he's either super underpowered or he's overpowered, but he's like never right in the middle. And I have to give it to like High Res. They did a really good job with Apollo. I played with him and played against him, and I think his So Beautiful is right spot on.
It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Wow, what is a show about all of a sudden?
I don't even know. Is this even a show anymore?
Nope.
So yeah, that's going to be his first ability. Let's go into his second ability, which is something that's quite deceiving at first, but if utilized properly is very powerful. His second ability is called Serenade, and of course he lets out his beautiful voice just echoing out towards any enemies that are within melee range of him, which will mesmerize them. If you guys don't know what mesmerize is, the only other instance of this CC effect is on Cupid's ultimate. It looks like they're putting more of it in the game, but what it is just like a soft stun. It's a stun effect, but it breaks on damage. If you take any source of damage, that stun will be broken off of you. At max rank, this Serenade will last for 2.3 seconds, which is a very long time, but again, he'll just do it in a circular ring around him, mesmerizing anyone that's nearby, and this is really good for countering channeled abilities like Guan Yu's Total Assault or Ares' Flames or anything like that, or canceling animations. You can cancel like Hercules' his ultimate is Excavate.
Sure.
It's a long animation, so you can cancel that very easily. So there's a lot of effects of that, but one of the biggest downsides is you have to be in melee range. It's very close. That's one of the biggest gripes that most competitive players have about the character, is they have to expose yourself quite easily to be able to utilize it.
Yeah, it's so strong, and I understand why. If it wasn't, within melee range, it would just be ridiculous. But I really like it. I like how it works with his third ability, the moves, and I also really like how it actually stacks with his ult. I found plenty of times where you come in with your ult, you hit the ground, you pop this ability, then all of a sudden you're popping So Beautiful, and by that time he's like half dead, and it's like, all right, let's just use my auto attack, and it's gonna pop here any second, and boom, he's dead. So I really like this. This is great for not only like team battles, but this is really good for comboing off of not only your ult, but also on your third ability.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that really works well, and I like him in lane with Amir, because you can mesmerize them on top of the Amir ultimate, and then as long as you don't hit them, they just end up getting poked or anything like that. Or, if it just basically, if utilized in a calm competitive setting where people are paying attention, you can, it's basically like a pause button for the fight. You wait enough to get cooldowns back, like an Amir stuns on cooldown. As long as you wait long enough, you'll get that back or anything like that. It just really works with a lot of abilities, landing a free skill shot like an Anubis stun or an On Her Impale or anything like that. I think if utilized properly, it's very powerful. But if you kind of just throw it out, it doesn't really work too well. So it's one of those like kind of niche things you have to figure out how to use properly, but once you do, it's just like really strong. I think it's really like one of the corner points for Apollo. So let's go ahead and go into his third ability, which is called the moves. Show me your moves. And what it does is just a dash. He will slide on his knees forward, doing physical damage to everyone he passes through. At the very, you just saw it on screen there. At the very end, there's a circular little area where he lands. At the end of the dash, he will apply a movement speed buff to him and his allies, and a movement speed debuff to any enemies in the area. So it works really well for escaping, for slowing enemies. And it does work as a dash. You will take damage during the dash. So if a skill shot comes and hits you, you will take damage from that. You are not immune. And also won't go over any obstacles or anything like that, and can be you're fully available during the dash, but it kind of complements his kit well.
Yeah, I actually really like this for ganking lane. As you're approaching a lane, if you actually have this up and available, it works really well. Coming into lane with the move, then following up with it with your second ability, which does a great stun. As I said before, everything combos so well. Like, everything can be used in every situation when you're using Apollos. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty balanced. I like how it's kind of an escape. It can be used in escape, but also can be used as an initiate with like a gank situation or to help out a teammate if you to dive in and silence your opponents. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. What about you? What have you found with this item?
I think it works. It works for his kid, and he kind of needs it, especially
Yep.
with the rest of his abilities, especially his two being so close. I don't think it's the best thing in the game. It has a good animation, and it works well with the slow, and will help you escape a lot of
Sure.
bad situations. But I think he kind of needs it to be effective, and it's just one of those things where it just makes a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and hop into his ultimate, which now he is knocking Thor off his throne of being the only one that's able to fly. He does fly up into the air, so what this is called Across the Sky, and when activated, he will start a very long animation of summoning his chariot. He will be CC immune during the animation. At the end of it, he will jump on his chariot and start flying around, losing 50 mana per second while doing so. He will be allowed to choose a landing location, which he will shoot down, and over zero point 0.8 seconds, he will do a ticks of damage, and then when he lands, he will knock everyone away from the landing location, like on hers Disperse Leap. So it works really well with there, but I mean, it's just one of those things that it's great for repositioning, it's good for team fights, it's good that just, it just works well with Apollo.
Yeah, I actually find myself using his ult almost like Neath. Like as you play Neath, you're constantly looking across the lanes to see, oh, is someone getting low? If you're playing in like a random casual game, if you're playing in a more organized competitive game, your teammates are telling you when to actually ult and what direction. But with Across the Sky, I find myself constantly looking to see, and any second, just pop in that ult. Now, I am very happy with the delay. I think that delay is appropriate because I feel that this ult gives a lot of mobility to a player in this game. It's like Thor, but being able to roam the map. So I understand the delay there. Some people might argue it's too long. I think it's necessary. I think you need to be able to be killed during that, and I think it's just long enough. Now, once you get up in the air, for me though, you and I are both used to like a spectator type of view, and it's kind of weird because like when you get up in the air, it's like this weird pivot. Like I feel like it could be a little bit more seamless. But all said and done, I mean, I think it's great. I find myself getting meditation sometimes actually on Apollo, which seems like a noob thing to do, but in all reality, I like having the ability at any second to pop meditation and get across the map to support a teammate or to go ahead and secure a kill. What are your thoughts on some of those things I mentioned?
I think we might see a nerf to the mana consumption of it because you could
Sure.
very easily fly from your well to their well and land with a third of your mana left, enough to
Sure.
use abilities and like that. So I think it
Yep.
goes a little too far for what it does. And again, you can like conceptually I thought I would have to buy Transcendence or get some mana regeneration on there, maybe go for
Yep.
Jotun's Wrath for extra mana. But after playing him, I mean, he doesn't really. I don't think he has any mana problems at all whatsoever. I think he
Yep.
can easily go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, type thing, and never have to worry about it. So I think the ultimate works well, and like you said, the animation is very, very apropos. I think the animation needs to be there. It needs to be very long. Otherwise, he could just, it's kind of like Thor, where the animation has to be there. Otherwise, it's just too strong because he won't be able to be ganked at all. So you need to focus on, making sure that is as balanced as it is. But also works well for scouting. I mean, you can go up in the air and look around, or just
Yep.
And one of the reasons why like the same thing with Thor, where he's really good at ganking the mid lane because you can't see it coming. It's the same thing like that. And
Sure.
we've even seen a few lineups where you run Thor, Apollo, and all of a sudden one Apollo in one lane and Thor in the other lane, and then you're in mid lane. All of a sudden the Sky Call comes in and they raid down on top of you and land
Yep.
down. There's a 3-man gank. So it's fun. It's a really cool ability, and it's definitely very innovative and interesting and intriguing. And I think it really adds a lot of spice to the game without being too overpowered. So I really, really like it.
Sure, definitely. Well, migrating off of Apollo here, we can go ahead and jump into the new skins that came in this last patch. The first skin is the Apollo Dry Bear skin. And this is a black... No, it's Apollo Slickshot, which is actually looks just like Dry Bear, people. He has it. He's got the faux hawk and everything. That's what you got to call it from now on. Come on, we can start it.
Oh, man.
Anyways, it's called Slickshot, and it's pretty much very similar to Apollo's default skin, but it's black. Black hair, kind of a black robe, garment, whatever you want to call it. But that's been available, which is pretty cool. It's just a little reskin, but it's so cool to see. And then we actually have the Bakasura Easter Bunny skin. Now, this is awesome. This is awesome. I think it's pretty cool. I feel like Dry Bear, wow. High Res is starting to take a lot of steps towards being very diverse with their skins. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, starting to get into the seasonal stuff, holiday stuff more and more. We saw Christmas, now we're seeing Easter.
I like it. I think it's really awesome, and I think it's something that a lot of other games do. You know, they'll change the map, or they'll change the minions, or you know, you see like in Dota, you'll see Roshan with a Santa hat, or
Sure.
you know, you see snowy maps or something. It just kind of adds to the season, and it makes you feel like you're not playing the same game all year long. And I think
Yep.
that the Slick Shot skin is pretty good for recolors. It seems like they're getting better at doing the recolors and not kind of
Yeah.
just. That it doesn't have like a cop out feel to it, like some of the earlier versions did. So I really like the black color. I think it complements it well. Same thing with like Aphrodite. I think her recolor was very unique but still basic at the same time. So changing that color
Sure.
scheme to be engaging and different without putting too much effort into it. So it's just a recolor, but it's just still very good. And the Bakasura skin is just so cool. I mean, the animations he carries around it's like lightning or like
Yep.
rainbow balls are on his hand when he activates it. And he spits out grass and like gummy bear minions and stuff. It looks awesome, and he's like he has like a little basket. So definitely really really cool. And it was the coolest thing about it too is it was a fan made, it was a community made concept.
Yep.
They liked it. They liked the drawings. They put it into their game, and they even gave the people who designed it free skin. They just gave it to free.
Of
So
course, yeah.
it's just like really cool stuff, and I really like what they're doing with the skins.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have so much potential with the skins, and they can make really they can make some of the original gods look terrific with some of these skin adjustments. I mean, originally, look what we saw coming out of Sobek with the pirate skin. I mean, that was really really cool. So I'm hoping to see more and more of these as we move forward. Jumping into the next section here is general. It's pretty lengthy here, but a lot of good things to look at, guys. First one here, the first login experience has been modified, some to help better guide new users to learning resources. I didn't see any of that, but I don't know if did you see anything like that?
I
Login
don't know. I
experience?
I haven't
Yeah.
logged in for the first time since the first time I
Yeah.
logged in. So
I didn't see anything. Hopefully somebody in chat can report, hey, it looks like XYZ type of style. I mean, I know in the past few patches we've seen Hi-Rez make adjustments to the guides and things like that to make the game much more new user friendly, which I think is necessary. I mean, in order for the game to grow, you need a player to get into the game and within the first minute know where he needs to go and feel comfortable with it. And that's why we've seen a ton of different types of arenas and practice type of different features added into the game. So this is just one other thing there. Another thing here, the ability to have separate resolutions and screen types between the overall game lobby and a match has been removed. You now set a single resolution and screen type for the game on the video tab of the settings. This sucks! Come on, I loved it the way it was. Now, granted, I will add people that this was due to some crash conditions going on some computers. So you have to remember, this might not be occurring on your computer, but if it's happening on 1% of their user base, it's a problem. And I'm very happy to see them pulling it back, and they're going to fix it, and then most likely they'll re-implement it.
Right, it's just crash conditions and people just having problems. For the people who worked for it, they loved it, but it was just causing so many issues that they decided to remove it for now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Jumping in here, game tips now show on the match loading screen. We see a lot of games like this. I mean, I'm a big fan. I've been playing a lot of Heart of the Swarm recently. They do that with Blizzard games. I know you have background in a little bit of League of Legends and Dota. Do they do that as well there?
The dual resolutions?
No. The game tips.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do that in World of Warcraft. They do that in Dota, in LoL, and everything. It's just nice little tidbits, and sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's like just really obvious, like why is this a tip type thing, or sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't know that. So it just a small little addition.
Sure. Another adjustment here under the general section, a new widget has been added on the home screen that displays your online friends. That's been really cool. It's been nice to see that. The only downside is once your buddy list, like your friends list, gets so big, like you have like so many people on at once.
Over 5. It doesn't go any more than 5. It's just like
it's like 5. It's like where's the 50 other people that are on right now?
It was funny too, 'cause when I first logged in, it was like you have 5 friends online. I looked and it was like the names were AAA, AAA, AAB, like ABB. I'm like, wait, that's the first 5? Just like all A's? All right.
Way to be creative.
I don't know, right? But yeah, it's really cool, and I think they need to add more additions to the friends list. I know they have had a lot of issues with not being able to add people, or just bugging out in general. So it's good that they're putting attention to it.
Yeah, I did some giveaways this past week on two nights, and I always hate when you go to add somebody and you type in their name and it says they're not online, but yet they just sent you a friend request and you accept it and then you can add them. I really hate that. So hopefully they're making some adjustments there. Maybe High Res will go ahead and add like a favorites tab into the social tab, so you can add in some of like your very consistent players. Like, if I want to play with this guy Dry Bear and I enjoy playing with him, I can just add him to my list, and so I can see that he's on every time I get on.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Then when Octane messages me in game, I can actually find it.
Yeah, compared to get buried in the text.
Just scroll through the pages. Is somebody that I recognize that needs to talk to me in here?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. A new option has been added to the UI tab of the settings menu that allows users to control the scaling of the above head combat text that displays above players' heads when they are damaged or healed. This so reminds me of like I used to play World of Warcraft. I know it's like admitting a problem. You have to admit it the first time. You have to admit it. Well, I did play WoW at one time, I promise. But yeah, like the scrolling combat text. This seems very similar to it, and I know we've seen this a decent amount with like spectator mode. For us, have you been playing around with it at all in game?
Yeah, it needed to be a little bit better, and it kind of worked on it. And I like it. It's not something super huge just yet, but again, it's one of those things where it's nice that they're working on it.
Sure, sure. And then a new option has been added on the video tab of the settings menu that allows users to enable or disable the ragdoll physics. Disabling this feature will improve performance on some PCs. Note that ragdoll physics is automatically disabled when running on low or lowest settings. What kind of settings do you run on?
Medium for everything.
Okay, okay. And they added ragdoll in just a little bit ago. How are you enjoying it so far? Just starting to see it develop over the last few patches.
I think it's really satisfying for the ones that have good animations, and as they add more, it'll be really cool. You hit an Ao Kuang ultimate, and they get flattened, or they die to the tornadoes, and they fly away, or they get zapped, they turn into like little lightning bolts and fall to the ground, or they turn to ash, or whatever. So a lot of cool stuff there. But again, I think it was very, very necessary to add it as a separate feature, because previously the only way to turn it off is to put it on low or lowest. But a lot of times that was more of a bottleneck for anything else. Like it was just the ragdoll that was causing problems for performance. So separating that out and segregating that as a separate feature allowed people to play at medium and high without lagging at the same time because of the ragdoll. I mean, it just added so much extra processing power, and keeping that like conjoined with all the settings made it tough for people to enjoy a good game. Because like if you go to low or lowest, it just turns like this dark, eerie looking, like the lighting goes away and it just like looks like everyone's sad. Like it's just a sad rainy day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you have that one video up actually with Ymir, and there's ragdoll effects coming into play when he takes off.
Yeah.
And he returns to his planet. Like
he just flies
so
away.
Cool. Like I love doing that, and I love like doing an alt, and then all of a sudden you're like continuing, and all of a sudden a body falls from the sky. Like there's like that delay because it's been thrown up in the air so high. Like it's so cool to see that. And I actually was spectating a match the other day, casting a match, and all of a sudden a body came up in front of my face, which was really cool. Like I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh, casting, oh, we do see Hercules running up, and body comes up, like floats by, and then comes back down. It was so entertaining.
Yeah, I think once they get all nailed down and get all the effects in the game, it's gonna be really, really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Another change they made here was the social screens have been tweaked to simplify the process of creating a party. The only thing I saw something on Reddit on this was people did comment every time you click on the social screen, it adds you to a party. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and it bothers the crap out of me.
Yep, exactly. Okay, I'm glad you, me, and the person on Reddit that posted it agree. So hopefully they'll make that adjustment. I mean, I know they're trying to make it easier for newer players because, it sometimes can be intimidating or hard to find exactly what you want. But adding you to a party every time is not the best way to go.
Well, I wouldn't mind it if it added you to a real party. Because when you go to the tab and it puts you in a party, it's not a real party. Like, you can still be invited by other people.
Sure.
Because a lot of times I'll be sitting in game, I'll be working on something or whatever, but I just keep getting invited over and over and over. So I'll sit in my own empty party by myself, so I can't be invited. But if I go to the social tab, it's like a fake party, so I can still be invited while I'm in that party. So I'm still getting spammed of like, come on, just be a real party. Just want to be a real boy. But I think it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of invasive, I guess. I like the feature if it's like, streamlined, I guess, or maybe a little bit less invasive. That's my biggest gripe. It's not a real party.
Yeah, you know what I'd be interested to see? Here's an idea, high res if you're listening, is a spot. You know how like in other games, especially WoW, where you could do like looking for a group, and then you could like find a group in game, and you could, or if you were looking for a group, you could sign up for it and set like what lane you play or what type of characters you play, and then it would like automatically add you to a group. Well, there's an idea. That would be good. It'd be good for some of those solo players.
So it'd be like the dungeon finder in WoW.
Exactly. Come on.
Dang, Octane dropping some knowledge here.
That'd be great. I mean, or you could just do find a group and you don't fill out any of that crap, and it'll automatically assign you with other players and then put you in. Like when you find a group, you know, you could set like different parameters and stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool.
That'd be awesome.
It might be super complex, and maybe it's like, you know, high res is like, please don't say that. Now people are going to want it. Please don't say that. But it'd be cool. It'd be really cool to see.
There's some high-res programmer who's just like bloodshot eye with a cup of coffee. He's like, why? I'm already working on so many things.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming. High res will make an announcement. It's coming someday.
There you go.
Coming.
Eventually. It'll be at the same time as 100K.
Yes, exactly. No details, but hey, we're doing 100K, and we're going to do a 10K first, though. All right. Anyways, back on topic. Additional tooltips have been added to the main menu to ease navigation for new users. Okay. In the end of match lobby, kills, deaths, and assists have been consolidated into one line on the expanded stats page. What do you think about that? What do you think about throwing everything together?
I know the menu so well that I don't notice these small little things. Like, it's just like I have no problem navigating anything in the Smite. You know, it's like we've been playing for so long. It's like if there were tips, I don't notice. Like, so I don't know if it's helpful, but it's definitely good to have that introduced in the game, and it seems like they want to help out new players. And you know, if there was confusion before, maybe the tips help wherever they may be. I don't know.
Yep. So the next one here, which I swear they took this from me because I recommended it on the first show that we did. Your estimated network ping has been added to the pre-match lobby. On one of the shows we first did, one of the recommendations I made was, oh, it's really nice to see your ping in game, but if your ping sucks, shouldn't you know that before you get into a game?
Yes.
And there it is, right there, pre-match lobby. You can see it.
Now it's promoting levers and dodgers.
That's right. They're like, oh,
just
crap,
dodge.
I'm out. I'm gonna take the deserter. I'm out. I don't want to play with a person like that.
I like that. I like how they separated it out too, as the client side and then the estimated network and all that.
Yep. So when there's a problem on their side, you could be like, look, it's not me. It's on their server. It's shit in the bed again.
It's your problem, bro, not mine.
Fix it. All right. Anyways, another one here. In the jungle practice mode, players now start at level 1. A special volume in the altar area allows you to increase your level each time you step in and out of it, so that you can practice at that level that you desire. I haven't played with this, especially with the next note here. In the jungle practice mode, the raw bot now scales based on your level. I haven't done any practice on that. Have you at all? Have you seen any of this or no?
No, I haven't done too much with it, but it's definitely something that I've been wanting for a long time. I want to be able to go into my own game, set my level, remove cooldowns, and just do like some testing and theory crafting, all that kind of stuff. So this seems like they're on their way to allowing this, setting your mode and all that kind of stuff. And the jungle is a huge part of Smite, so I think it's really important for them to include aspects of that and be able to jungle at all levels. As a jungle, I mean, before they added the jungle scaling, the jungle was like, hey, I'll just go clear this camp, and now it's like, I just nuked it twice and it's still alive type thing. So I think it's important to have that not only the jungle clearing, but also adding the feature where you can level up and all that stuff. And it's important for new players to be able to handle jungle on a regular basis.
Sure, definitely. All right, you're up, sir.
So let's go ahead and head into the next part here. It's still in general, keep in mind. So the next thing is change the surrender rules so that if 3 people are left on a team, a surrender can occur with only 2 votes. Previously, it required all 3 remaining players, and there was always that one stingy guy who was like, we can win 3v5. We can do it. Don't give up. So it just scaling the amount of surrenders to the relative to the amount of people that are in the games, which is really good.
Thank God. I'm so happy. I'm so happy they added this. Like, it's sad. This is gonna go back to like previous topics, but they need to put more punishment on people that leave games, because you end up with these people exactly how you said. You have that one guy. Oh, we could do it, and you're like, really, bro? Really, bro? We're down by like 10 kills, and it's 3 versus 5. Come on.
I got things to do. Chop
F6,
chop.
F6, F6.
There you go. Yeah, I'm glad they added it, and they need to punish more. I think ranked leavers more than anything else. Like anyone who dodges a ranked game is just scum.
Yep.
Just total scum. Tired of it.
Yeah, right.
They just ruin it. Like you sit there for 15 minutes and you get the queue and you're like, yes. And then you spend 5 minutes like picking and banning and all that stuff. You get to the very end and then they dodge. You're like, you start smashing things. It's like, why? So definitely doing that. So next part of the general is the minimap has undergone some modest performance optimizations. Very, very small things. I think it was just like the updating of, motion and fog of war additions or anything like that. So I think it was important to add that. But very, very small stuff, just optimizing that through. Have you noticed anything about the minimap?
I haven't really noticed the adjustments they've made to it. As you had said before, it's kind of one of those things where like you play, you navigate through the menus, you don't even notice these small little adjustments they make, but somebody's enjoying them.
It's just like the support. I don't even know how it happens, but wards appear.
Yep.
There you go. So the next thing is the game modes under the practice menu now run locally on the user's PC, which is great. This is an option that allows you to play without ping being an issue, practice all that, and maybe you practice for lane or anything like that. So it's really cool to have that option available in the practice mode. So you're not like, if you're like really really lagging, then you don't have to worry about the ping coming through on that side.
Yeah, this is actually taking like their first steps towards like an offline mode. It's kind of funny though because like StarCraft 2 for the longest time. Okay, StarCraft 2 for the longest time made you log in. Yet you had to authenticate with their servers to play the offline version. It's like, well, what the hell? What if I'm in a car on my laptop and I don't have internet? How am I going to log in to play the offline version? Like, it was so stupid. So anyways, back to the subject here. It seems like Hi-Rez is starting to make the move towards having like an offline version, which would be really cool. Like, hey, I'm on an airplane and I want to practice X, Y, and Z with SMITE. You should be able to do that. I mean, I don't know the technicalities there and what they would have to do to get that to work properly, but they're going in the right direction, and I'm really happy about that. Plus, they're also, if you think of it, they're taking more load off of their servers, which is great because then it's going to improve the overall gaming experience for those people playing in game. So
yeah, definitely. And I really like having it too because there's a lot of times where if you're playing a game that doesn't have, I mean, like you said, if you don't have the authentication, or even there are some games, I know Heroes of New Earth doesn't have a offline feature at all, so you always have to play online, which is bad because if you're at a LAN center, I went to a Heroes of New Earth tournament at a LAN center where there was like 500 people, and they had to keep like doing like they kept getting on the main mic. They're like, if you're torrenting and we find out you're torrenting, we're gonna find you and shut you down because the lag was causing so many problems and you couldn't play offline to make a tournament go. So everyone was lagging and everyone had the 300 ping. So moving towards that is always a great idea, especially for LANs. It's really important to have that local feature so you just play from the LAN and not have to lag or anything like that. So I really like the prospects of this, but definitely having that practice mode on a local server is really, really cool. So next thing is all references to the focus mechanic have been removed. Kind of just clerical things. I mean, there's a few like mentions of the focus mechanic, and it's funny too because I always have the old VODs on my YouTube like, how do I buy stats? I'm like, you can't. Those are gone. That's an old video. Look at the timestamp. So they're just removing that through. Fixed a bug in which the names of enemy players would be prematurely revealed in the match lobby when in draft mode. This would pretty much only happen for the person that was banning. You would sit there and you're just like, oh, I wonder who has the enemy team. And it's just like waiting for a ban from Zapman. You're like, oh, Zapman's on the enemy team. Okay, now I know. So it would just reveal whoever was banning. So I guess they removed that. So that's no longer in the draft mode. Do you have any experience with that?
I did, not necessarily in that setting, but, did previously in previous patches where, like, you could just hover over top of the enemy and you got to see that. So it sounds like this is kind of a follow-up of something that slipped through the cracks for the person that's banning to be able to see the other teammates. So I'm very happy that this is getting adjusted. I feel like this is something that should have been hot fixed and not, like, waited for a patch to get done. Because I feel like it's that critical.
Yeah, definitely. So the next thing is the character builder under the guides menu has been modified some. Saving of items and abilities has not yet been added, but the changes made this patch made us closer to being able to add that feature. So they're working on being able to do your own in-game guides, and possibly even I think they want to add it to like the recommended tab where you can go in game and open up your guide for this character and then be able to look at your own build for every character. So I think they're working towards that. It's just gonna it's just step-by-step type thing. So they're just working on that. So it's just
I really hope so. I want to see a custom tab. I would love to see custom tabs. Like, hey, I'm playing Agni. I have 3 builds that I've made already. Now, granted, a lot of your builds are situational, and a lot of new players coming over from a lot of other games are always like, "Oh, I need a build, I need a build," and it's like you don't need a build. You know, everything's situational in every single game. But there are like one or two items which are kind of like your cookie cutter type of style. So I would love to see custom tabs though. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah, in the early closed beta, they had it on the recommended where you could, at least the text was there letting you know that you could
Sure.
add your own guides, but it just wasn't, complete just yet. So I think they have plans for it. They just haven't added it. So the
Okay.
next line, which is very, very specific, is fixed a different crash conditions. So that's just as specific as it gets. So they just fix some general bugs. The next one is a variety of other small bug fixes and cleanups have been made. Again, very specific, but also just making the game very clean and fresh. The next one is fix an issue where Artemis's bore mesh would hang around for several seconds after it died. I believe. Yeah, the next one is fix an issue where dangly physics parts on characters were still using PhysX when ragdolls were disabled. So just a whole bunch of cleanups there, but a lot of ragdolls, would hang around, or the boar would just die and then sit there for like 3 seconds and then slowly dissolve into the ground after a fight. So you just like look at this invisible boar that's just standing there staring at everybody and then just like dissolves. So just a few hang around effects, and they're just improving the ragdoll.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, makes sense. Just little cleanup things here and there.
As you can see, Shing going super hard on me on screen right now.
Wow,
Try hard.
that just sounded so sexual and so bad. There's Shing on screen going so hard on me right now.
Of course it is. So the next one is, in arena game mode, towers that kill minions now deduct points from the minion victim's team. So just a small little adjustment to the points in arena. It doesn't have a huge effect, but when the points start to dwindle, it's really important. Do you play any arena?
Not enough. I mean, I enjoy it. I do every once in a while throughout the week. I do like these custom 5-on-5 games with my viewers, where I get like another group of 5 people together, and we create a custom game and do like 1,000,000 gold and starting at level 10 or something like that, or different things there. And so that's what I do. That's when I play arena. But normally throughout the week when I'm doing viewer games and hanging out, it's usually just Conquest. But I should play more arena.
There you go. So next thing is addressed an issue with leapers getting stuck in walls and ascending to the sky. I know you have a lot of experience with this.
Yeah, about that. I swear they watched my video and they were like, "All right, enough is enough. We gotta fix it."
All right, well, Octane's had his fun. Let's remove it now.
Yeah, right.
The free god rotation has been changed and then posted on the patch notes, but I believe this is about to change anyway, so I'm not going to go through the gods that are there, but they're just making it more available as to what gods are free in addition to the permanent gods that are always there. They fixed an issue where god bodies could remain or reappear after death, like a mirror striking his fabulous pose, just leaning backwards and looking up to the sky type thing. So just god bodies just hanging around, just a lot of ragdoll issues there. They also fixed an issue where minion physics could jostle violently and then ran into a despawn area in Domination Arena game mode. So sometimes you see like the minion die and then its arm would like just turn into a noodle and shoot off the screen, then come back, and just weird stuff happening with the ragdoll. So just all those kind of cleanups there.
Sure, definitely. That concludes the general section, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump into Spectator changes. Please note that not everybody has Spectator, so I'm not going to go into all the details here, but I'll just kind of go over them real quick. So left shift by default now is the only way to increase the camera speed across all spectating views. And you use Spectator just as much as I do, if not more. What are your thoughts on limiting the camera speed to 1 button?
I liked the scroll wheel a lot. I really liked it a lot. I'm sad that it's gone. But I think I haven't really tested with the new scroll speed a whole bunch, or enough for me to say I could objectively compare the two. Because of the casting I've done since the patch, I'm just like, I want my scroll wheel back. I want it back, just because I like speeding it up and slowing it down and all that all that kind of stuff. So not a huge change there. And I think once I get used to it, I'll be able to comment more on it.
Sure. Another thing they fixed was an issue where structures would appear to remain if you skip past their destruction. And that definitely would happen. I would go past like Team Red, and the Eye of Sauron would still sit there, and then the tower would disappear, but it would still sit floating, and you'd be like, okay, and then it would eventually disappear.
He's immortal.
He's immortal, pretty much. And a few adjustments here with some of the infrastructure of the map, with crippling out pieces, and we also have fixed an issue where the crowd control golden overlay on a player character would remain after rewinding. So these are just little adjustments they're making to polish off the spectator mode. Just little things that they're finding that are just kind of hanging out there. And then finally fix an issue where the isometric view could get stuck in a particular view if isometric view was triggered immediately after moving a free cam via the mini map. So I'm just confused after I just read that statement, but outside of that, yeah, they made some changes to isometric view. I don't use that view. Do you use that view?
No, I don't.
Exactly.
I think the only thing that it's cool for is if Thor goes up into the air, you can click it really quick and it'll show him like really easily without having to look for an angle, and you can come back down. But it was like a very like small. It was almost like using an ultimate in a fighting game. You had to like hit isometric and then go back to a view and then click on the map and then hit isometric, like up B, down A, and then once you got it, it would freeze. Just like a very small one. So I mean, even them trying to describe it, they had trouble. It was a very, very specific bug, but I'm glad it's gone, I guess.
Yeah. So that pretty much concludes spectator changes. I did want to ask you, where do you think they're at? I mean, where do you feel spectator mode is at right now? A lot of people ask a lot of questions. Oh, when are they going to give spectator mode to everybody? You've had a pretty good amount of time with it. I've had a decent amount of time with it. If you were to gauge, give a percentage on it, where you feel spectator mode is at, where it's at with being polished, what would you say?
60%.
60%?
Yeah. What about you?
I'd have to say about 75. I think it has a lot. I mean, it's so informational now. All of a sudden, they're giving us all this information while you're in the game, and it's great. It's really nice to have it. But I haven't seen anything which tells me like, hey, they shouldn't release it to everybody, except for the fact that, and this is the big one, they can't limit it. And what I mean by that is, if there's a competitive match going on, some Joe Schmo can log into it and feed one of the players all the information. There's no option that says like only let these spectators in or invite these people to invite these spectators to the party in some manner to allow them only to do it. I think that's the only thing. I think if they can fix that, then they can release spectator mode.
Yeah, possibly giving people the ability to look at it. It's just a lot of it's like server issues as well. They can't they're already having like 10 people in the match, and then all of a sudden 100 more people join the match and looking around, and all of a sudden things start crashing. Especially if it's like a ranked match, and if I was in a ranked match and then 10 people came in to watch and it crashed and I lost rating, I'd be like, I'd be pretty grumpy. So it's just a lot of server load and all that kind of stuff. So just good stuff there, but I think I think they want it really, really comfortable, and I think they're happy just leaving with media and content providers for now.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, if they can limit the amount of people that can view the match, and they can limit people getting into a match, I think they're set. I mean, if you limit it to 3 people, I think that's plenty. I mean, you have two spectators, which could be the casters, and then maybe an admin. I think that the scene will eventually get there. But anyways, let's get back on track here. Jumping into the ability adjustments. We get theory craft later and talk all about items. The global cooldown no longer applies to active abilities or consumables purchased from the store. Thoughts on that?
I love it. I love it. And it's gonna lead into one of the changes that comes a little bit, like a few lines down. But I just like that it's more just like timing based. And they did adjust to make it not too powerful. But I just I like the fact that when you need it, you can pop it. You can cut it as close as you need to the animation or the big burst or whatever you're trying to avoid, as close as you need to without having to worry about the global cooldown. Because obviously the global cooldown is going to be affected by latency as well. People that are lagging more have a longer global cooldown than people who are lagging less type things. So if you're sitting in US East on a US East Georgia server, your global cooldown is going to be like nothing versus somebody who's like in Europe playing for US East, his global cooldown or her global cooldown is going to be like a little bit longer just because of that delay type thing. So I don't really like having it on the active items, but we'll get into why it's a little bit better in a few lines here.
Yep. Another item that's actually been added is actually Portal, which if anybody plays Team Fortress 2, this is an exact example of it. Using this item creates a portal entrance at your spawning location and a portal exit at your ground target. A player standing on the portal entrance will teleport to the exit, consuming both the entrance and the exit in the process. The cooldown is 180 seconds. Before I give my opinion, what are your thoughts on taking Portal and putting it into the game?
I think the only reason it's balanced is because you are sacrificing an active slot for it.
Yep.
And that is so valuable that those slots are so, like sparse and very, very important to your overall gameplay. So that, you teleporting across the map on a cooldown, whatever, your teammates can use it, whatever. There's a lot of downsides to it. There's a lot of upsides to it. I think it only has a few specific uses. Picking it up, I think the only people that should buy are support tanks. Or support in general. I've seen a few people run it mid. I don't think it's something you want to pick up as a mid character. As again, you'll have one active item for defense, and that's it. Type thing. So I think it's interesting. It's intriguing, and I think it is well implemented.
So we already have Vulcan having a turret in game, which is the Inferno Cannon. We now have the teleporter in game. When are we going to see a dispenser? Like, where's the dispenser? You put it like in the jungle somewhere, and you're like, "Hey, run past it!" And it's like one of those abilities, and it gives you health. Come on, high res, hire me. Come on, I have so many good ideas.
We're slowly getting there. We're slowly getting there.
But back to the point about teleport. I found it actually a really cool item to have for mid. And what I mean by that is I've seen several mid people actually getting it, and then what happens is they'll go ahead and like you hit level 5. And you're the first one to go back. So you go back, you buy like your Aegis amulet, and then you go ahead and teleport forward, and boom, you're back. And like within 5 seconds, you can teleport, buy the item quickly, and teleport back, which allows you to almost save. Usually, when you go back at that level, the other god will stay there, and they'll farm out the minions to get the additional XP. You can get a wave, maybe 2 before they get back. But now with teleport, it's like instant. So I really like this item for mid. That's the only place I've seen it used. Have you seen it used anywhere else?
Yeah, I've seen it used in a couple scrims and competitive matches where they're picking it up on the support tanks to help the carry. Like the carry can just farm, clear a bunch of buff camps, go home, teleport back, keep farming, just accelerating that farm, and then the support tank would just replace either a girdle or a hand of the gods on that active item slot. So I've seen it on support tanks, but I think for the mid lane, I don't think it should replace like good fundamentals like pushing the lane before you leave and making sure you're not getting pushed too hard or anything like that. And I think it going into the mid lane or to the mid game where team fights start happening, being a squishy magic damage dealer with only one defensive active item just makes you really just like shut downable. Just because like if there's an Ares on enemy team or a lot of burst or anything like that, you're just like Aegis on cooldown and. If you kill me, I'll come back right away.
Pretty much. We're also seeing another adjustment, which I'm really surprised to see this in this patch, which is actually Aegis Amulet. Invulnerability has been reduced from 2 seconds to 1.5. And the reason I say I'm surprised that I've seen it is because every patch for the past like 4 patches, I think it is, we've seen them increase the time on Aegis Amulet and Purification Beads. Like they've constantly been bumping it up, and it got to a point now where like prior to this adjustment on the timing of it, it allowed a lot of these alts to start to be feasible again. For example, like Ares ult. Like Ares ult was to the point where like Aegis was neck and neck with it, and so it was pointless to go like Ares with his ult because everybody always had their Aegis available, and they've slowly increased that time more and more, and now they're going ahead and saying, all right, well, we're just going to reduce the time that you're actually invulnerable. I'm kind of surprised with this. I haven't played around with it a ton, but what about you? I mean, have you noticed that significant 0.5 second difference?
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's completely in line with the fact that there's no longer a global cooldown. That's the biggest thing is you won't have that leading animation. And since you don't have that leading animation, you can click it whenever you need it. Like as soon as you need it, you can click it. So now it's more skill based, so it's not going to be like Sobek's ultimate kind of ends in the next few seconds. It's not like that. So it's like Sobek's ultimate is going to end right now. Like you have to know exactly where it is because that shorter time frame. But I think because they removed the global cooldown and then shortened the duration of the Aegis Amulet, it counteracts itself really well. And I really like the new Aegis Amulet combination a lot.
Yep, I agree. And then finally, the last item under the abilities to get adjusted in this past patch was Purification Beads. This ability is now usable when you are knocked into the air. You will still be in the air and falling, but are then immune to all other crowd controls while falling. This leads me to believe that we're going to start to see more and more gods having abilities that don't apply just to the ground, but also to in the air. Big thing is like We're seeing now, we're now seeing Apollo. His ult is in the air. And you have to remember, not all gods are immune to crowd control when they ult. For example, for the longest time, we saw on her actually, he could be crowd controlled during his ult for a while until they fixed it.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this now? I mean, is this preemptive to some new god abilities as we move forward, or do you see an issue right now where this needed to be put in?
Bacchus OP. Bacchus OP 100% of the way. I mean, that's all it is. It's just Bacchus is just so good. It's just like literally that. I mean, the belly flop comes out almost instantaneously, and you're in the air, and then they just follow up with an impale. They follow up with a wrap. They follow up with like literally anything, and you can't even use beads to get out of it. Like you're just in the air and you're screwed. And Bacchus is just so good, always first ban, first pick type thing. So I think this is like a lot of dealing with that. So like the follow up was just too strong because like the belly flop animation was so fast that you couldn't even react to it. A lot of times you die before you could even pop your beads in the first place. So it just made Bacchus too strong. I think that was the biggest thing is just because of Bacchus. Sure. And it's possible they're looking towards the future.
Yeah. No, I agree. Why they have to make the fat man so strong? Come on now. Jeez.
Frickin' Santa.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So the next thing here, we're going to head into the items that have been adjusted and moved around and all of that jazz. The first one is going to be the Bracer of Replenishment. I know this item just gets picked up so often, everyone knows exactly what it is. Outside of ARAM, of course, it's always picked up at ARAM. But the price has been reduced from $22.50 at max rank to $18.50. So actually a 400 gold reduction at max rank. There's no reduction at the first ranked, a slight reduction at the second rank, but 400 gold overall for the total item. So definitely a big change there. They want the item to be picked up more, and it was way too expensive for what it gave you. I mean, it just gave you a small amount of stats and an aura. Like it really was a pretty poor item for like what it costed. So just like why would I spend money on this if it's just gonna take a slot and not just I'm gonna spend too much money on it. So I think it really did need to have that price reduced. Have you messed with the Bracer at all?
I played around with it for a little while. I see it. I see it more and more on new players who are having issues balancing mana. I mean, I've even seen some people who spam so much that they have these and they also have meditation. It's like, oh my gosh, your mana is like unlimited right now. But I'm really happy to see them make the adjustment because I'd like to see the Bracers of Replenishment added more and more into the game compared to when it first just came out.
Absolutely. So the next item is going to be the Ethereal Staff. Ethereal? It's the Ethereal Staff.
Yeah.
The HP5 and MP5 have been removed from this item, so just repurposing it a bit. They have now added magic power. The percentage of your maximum health converted to magic power has been increased from 1.5% to 2%, and the price has been reduced. This item is so good now. This item is so freaking good that it's a slow reaction. People are starting to realize it, but you see a few of the top players who recognize the power of this new item. Yep. They pick it up, and it's in a lot of the mage rotations for item builds now. And it's just so strong. Have you tried out the new Ethereal Staff?
I have, and I completely agree with you. I mean, now that we're seeing the magical power on there, it's a deadly item, and it might be one of those items that we actually see adjusted in the future, in future patches, if they find it's just one of those items which is like a must-have at this point. Wanted to jump back, just a thought, just theory crafting again, you know me, I random go off on thoughts. Bracers of Replenishment on Apollo because of the fact of constantly popping your ult.
Maybe it's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about it. I mean, the price now is cheap, and if it's one of those items where it's like, okay, as Apollo, instead of doing like the meditation trick, where like having meditation available so you can pop your ult anytime, having this item just so that you could max out your mana, like just so that you could pop it, you use all your mana, and what happens is, guys, if you aren't familiar, when you use all your mana with Apollo's ult, he hits the ground right away there, and then all of a sudden, like with this item, just mana starts regenerating up really, really quick. So, it was just a thought. I was just like, yeah, light bulb went off, maybe. Something to try. Anyways, carry on.
And the next item is going to be Hide of the Nemean Lion. The reflected damage is now done as magical damage instead of physical.
No! Yeah.
Hide OP! Oh, man. So now, if you are a ranged physical carry and you bought, or even melee as well, if you bought a Void Blade and you thought that was going to save you, it will not. You now need to buy magic protection as well if you're up against a fatty tank with a hide stacked up on there, so you need to work in like a Bulwark of Hope or a Magic's Blessing or something that really helps you with that. So now when you're buying those physical protection items like the Witch Stone or the Void Blade, that protection will not help you with the reflection of the hide, which I think is I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty good for like if you're one of those people that go with like let's say you go with Hades and you're building more of like a style of a little bit tanky or maybe a hybrid. And you're going against a Thor or a Neith or something like that, this is pretty good. It stacks on your magical damage, so you're doing some more there. And then on top of that, this could be a pretty good item for Ra, depending on who you end up going against in mid if you play Ra mid. So, yeah, this is going to bring a lot of change. Definitely. Hide and Neiman Line, man, had so many changes done to it over the past several weeks.
I hate it.
I hate it. It's crap. It's crap.
So next item is the Hydra's Lament. The passive has been changed to this. For 5 seconds after using the ability, your next basic attack will deal 125% of your base physical power before items and buffs as additional physical damage. This effect can only apply once every 2 seconds. So now this is better, a little bit earlier on in the game, but it doesn't have as late scaling anymore. So it's just a little bit of adjustment for the Hydra's Lament. Some people like picking it up now like prior to what it used to be or anything like that. I still don't think it's something that is really that great of an item. The only person I would buy it on is Loki, just because his whole world revolves around burst damage. But beyond that, I think it's still not the greatest item.
Yeah, I don't think that item is where they would like it to be. It's very limited on someone like Loki for the assassination portion of it. So maybe it'll apply more as we start to get some new gods and with some of their abilities. But as of right now, it's definitely not used very often at all. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, really? Like, what's that item? People actually use that thing? I'm like, all right.
Speaking of people actually use that thing, Jotun's Wrath is now an item that people start to pick up. What it does is the mana on this item has been reduced. It used to be 300. It's now 150 at max rank. But this item now has 15 physical penetration at max rank, so it works on characters that do physical damage and need the CDR, like Monkey, or you can even work it on Apollo, or I think Neith as well. Neith really has a lot of good cooldowns you can work it on. So the cooldown plus the mana plus the pen plus the physical power makes it a really good item, where previously it was an item that was just like it never really saw any purchase time. Like no one even wanted it. It just rotted and dusted.
Yep. So it looks like they're starting to take some of these items which have kind of just been dormant, not really used too often. They're starting to make little fine-tuning adjustments to them, hoping to see them more in the scene. But yeah, so that looks like that concludes the item section. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the god changes. So Aphrodite, Lovebirds. The damage has been increased. I'll just say the max is here. Max 38 to 55. Now that's a tick. If you're not familiar, that's almost, if you come from a WoW background or anything like that, it's like a dot. It's like damage over time. And that occurs during the entire animation of that ability with the birds, and they circle around type of style and all that fun stuff. So did you think she needed this adjustment, doing more damage, or no?
With the Lovebirds, yeah. So it makes it a little bit stronger of a push and lane control. And I think if they added more healing to it, it would be a little too strong. Sure. But I like them adjusting the damage.
Yeah, I think it was definitely needed. She needed something a little bit stronger. I mean, she's literally like that opposite side of the spectrum for like support and utility. Like she's all the way there. She's not like a little hybrid or anything like that. I feel like she's completely on that support and utility side. So I'm really happy to see them starting to give her some of this this damage increase adjustments. Bastet, Pounce. Bastet can now return Pounce even when under crowd control, removing all of the crowd control effects on her at that time. Bastet now moves 25% faster while she is in her return Pounce. I think this is crap. I think this is such crap.
Why?
What is your opinion before I give mine, of course?
I think she needed a little bit of a poke. I would consider this a poke. I mean, it makes her she's really in the laning phase. She's a poke god. She has that little, she runs out, hits you with some damage and jumps back type thing. And her animation on her leap was just god awful. It was really slow and very easy to interrupt, and a lot of times you're like, "Rah, rah, rah," and you kept getting knocked up, and then finally you pounce away with like all your health gone. You're like, well, that was not worth it. So I think it really fits into the idea of Bastet being able to jump in, do some damage, and get out safely. So I think it was important for her to not be CC'd for that aspect, and the fact that she starts to fall off. Her other abilities just suck. I mean, her passive, I think, is the worst passive in the game. I don't like the conceptual design of it at all. But, I mean, her cats are strong early game, but then they just start to fall off later into the game. So I think it really, it puts more emphasis on her being an early game powerhouse with damage.
Now, I'm going to disagree. I do not like the fact that she can pounce into a battle, okay? And let's say I stun her. Bam, try to stun her. Oh, she just pounces and gets right out of it. It's like, well, what do you mean? I just wasted an ability to crowd control you so our team can pick you off, and you just pounce away. I do not like the last part of that. Removing all of the crowd control effects on her at that time. Yeah. What if there is a stun and a slow on her at the same time? Like, it should remove 1 CC. So, like, if she's stunned, it removes the stun CC, but doesn't remove the slow. Like, I hate it. And a good example is that video that I asked you. Did you see this video? There's a video on Reddit right now where somebody puts a portal at the spawn within the throne room, and Bastet pounces into the portal. So she leaps, we'll say, into the portal, and then the portal takes her across the map, and then she clicks to pounce back. Well, guess what happens? It doesn't go back through the portal. You see her flying through walls like Superman. It's like boom, 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 flying through these walls, going through the landscape and all. And then like it's so funny because her feet are in like slow-mo. Like the animation is like over time, and there's this giant like flame path across the ground, and then she finally goes all the way back to her spawn. So fix it.
Just portal abuse. Yeah, but here's the thing though. If she dies, she'll come back quickly. Overpowered. She plans ahead of time. She's like, I know I'm going to feed at least 9 deaths. So please plan ahead of time for me sucking and dying, please. Put that into my skill set somehow, because that is my strategy. I want to die as many times. I want to get to that double-digit death and work that into my skill set, and I'll be happy and I'll love this character forever.
All right, moving on to hell. Hinder. Fixed an issue with debuff icon showing twice. So it's just a little adjustment there, no big deal. Now, Ra, Solar Blessing. The healing has been increased from 10, 18, 26, 34, 42 to 15, 25, 35, 45, and 55. So looking on the end game scale, it's 42 versus 55. Are they trying to make Ra a more like utility-based god or a support god, or was this necessary? I mean, did you think that Ra really needed a healing adjustment?
I think I like the changes overall, complimenting the fact that they removed the double hit. At first, I was like, no double hit. But what it does is it makes it more reliable. So now you're always going to be doing the same amount. It's not going to be like, oh, I just one-shot this guy, or oh, I only hit him once. So removing that double, triple hit on the beam means that he's more reliable. But then adding in the extra healing to the Solar Blessing means that he's more stable, and he's more into that tank-type role where he can get in close, slow people down, heal up the team type thing. I think it really works Ra into a more comfortable spot, and I think it's really, really good. And I like him, as he is now versus what he started to become the longer he ended up being. That, if someone dashed away from your beam and they just got hit like 3 or 4 times, you just see him getting. I have a video of me one-hitting a Shibalanki who dashed backwards and the beam just followed him the whole way. And it's from 100 to 0. He just got one shot with my number 1 ability. So I think it was just a little bit too finicky to deal with.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think Ra with healing. I haven't played Ra in a while, actually. I used to play him all the time. I actually play a lot of mid with him before mid became so diverse after Poseidon came into the game. But, yeah, I mean, I think this is a great idea. I always hated it when, you just get in the beam a tiny bit, and then you'd run out, as you said, and you'd be like, oh, crap, I need to get back. Wait, the healing's over. So this is good. We'll have to see kind of how this works out and how things move forward. We also have Vamana. Clear the path. The physical power contributions has been increased from 40% to 60%, along with the Umbrella Rang. The physical power contribution has been increased from 20% to 40%. So we're seeing a buff to Vamana when it comes to more of these, this more damage dealing god on two of these abilities. What are your thoughts on that? Did you think that he needed these adjustments?
Well, I think they just all it did was repurpose him. So taking away the healing on his ultimate and putting more damage and scaling onto his abilities means that he's more of a Thor now, which he
Sure.
kind of was played that way anyway. It just means that it's less focus on him being able to tank and more focus on him playing like Thor, where he just jumps in, does some damage, and gets out. The ultimate is just kind of like a catalyst for that. So putting that scaling on there means that he's just more of a damage dealer. And he
Sure.
hurts. He hurts now. He used to hurt, and it was hard to kill. Now he's a little bit easier to kill, and his ultimate isn't as threatening, but now he hurts even more. So I think it's just repurposing him as more of like that, that bruiser, but more focused on damage type.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I like the bruiser type of setup for Momana. It's very, very strong, and I think we started to see that develop probably over the past few months now. Probably about 2 months or so, maybe a little bit more. So I'm really happy with that. And then Zeus, which we actually haven't seen Zeus in the notes a lot recently for adjustments. The Aegis Shield. Protections gained while this ability is active has been increased 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 to 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. So our difference on the upper scale is 35 to 55. So about a 20 difference there. Zeus, did you think his shield needed to be a little stronger?
Zeus is. I feel like if you're you're one of the balance leads and you're
Sure.
looking at Zeus, it's like trying to defuse a bomb with like a rusty pair of pliers, because Zeus is so good late
Yep.
game and mid game, but so bad in the laning phase and so
Yep.
easy to kill. Like if you like, it's like one of those things where like you're like, all right, what if I adjust a little bit, and all of a sudden he's too powerful, because
Yep.
he's just like his mid and late game is just so crazy good. So it's just like one of those things where you have to like be very, very delicate on how you touch it, otherwise it's gonna explode and he's gonna be the most overpowered god in the whole entire game, because he's just really good, but his laning phase is incredibly weak and he's extremely easy to kill. So it's just one of those things you have to be really, really careful. I think this is them just tiptoeing yet again, making sure they don't make Zeus turn into a real lightning storm all over the map type thing. So I think just adding a little bit more protections might help him. As you can see, it's still not for the early game. The early game values are still the same, but
Sure.
in the mid and late game, it'll give you a little bit extra protections against the carries and whatever that try to attack you. But again, it's just like a small little. I can feel the fear in their hearts when they try to adjust Zeus. They're like, "What do we do? What do we do?"
So I have to give a shout out to Darnith in the chat room. He says, "So you're saying we need MacGyver?" I was like,
We
"Yes,
definitely do. We need a paperclip, a sock, and an orange, and we can fix Zeus.
That's right. All right, I like the comment in chat too. Next update: Zeus's ultimate is now global.
Oh God.
Can you imagine, like late game? Okay, late game when I play against a Zeus and I'm like cruising around, and let's say I'm playing as like Neath or something like that, and I'm cruising around, and all of a sudden like I get a detonate on me, and it's like full health, boom, dead. It's like what? It's like what just happened? It's like, oh, let me look at the Zeus. Oh, what is he stacked with? Oh my gosh, he hits like a tank. So I agree. Late game and mid game, Zeus is really good, but early game, I think this is where this is getting to make his survivability a little bit higher, especially with this ability.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's scary. It's the worst feeling in the world to run in the jungle, like 2v1 against Zeus, and your teammate runs right next to you, and then Chain Lightning comes out, and you're like, oh God, no. What have you done to me? Go away, go away! And it just bounces between you and he detonates. You're like, oh God, why? But in the early game, you're just like, oh, is that a Zeus? Nom, nom, nom. And you just like jump on him and kill him. Like the Bacchus, anyone that can clear the gap really, really easily. And like Zeus is my main man. I mean, I love that character to death. But if they go a little bit too far, I'm just gonna play him in ranked all day long because I love that character and he's just so good.
Did you ever play Bomberman on N64?
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's what that is when you're going against Zeus. Somebody gets you're approaching Zeus with like your lane partner. You're like, nope, get away! He's gonna do it. Here comes the lightning, and then it hits to you, and you're like, no! That's what I feel like for Bomberman when I used to play N64. Like I used to rage so bad at my friends nearby and be like, get away! Get away!
It's exactly how it is. They always like run to you when it's happening. The chain lane comes out and they're like, "Oh no, get close! Huddle for warmth!" And you're like, "Please, just go away! Go away! I don't want to die."
It's like failing in WoW. It's like, all right, let's go together. Let's go. In a raid, you're like, no, do not come together. Spread out, people.
Is that a puddle of liquid death? Let's all stand in it together.
Yes, exactly. And that actually wraps up the God section of the notes. and actually finishes up the notes for this patch. What were your thoughts overall on this? I mean, I know it's been about a week and some since the patch came out, so you and I both had a pretty good amount of time to play with it. Overall, what are your thoughts? The new god, everything.
I like it. I like the changes. More good stuff coming through. And I really, really enjoy the global cooldown removal on active items. I think that's really, really clutch. I liked it a lot. And then the direction of the Aegis Amulet. I think it was a very elegant way to go about the rampant use of the Aegis Amulet and how good it was for everything.
Sure.
Type thing. I think it was just very beautiful, and I gotta live a lot of respect for them. Getting clever with their god design and their balance changes and their skins and everything. I think this game is just getting better and better every day. And I like a lot of changes. And I love Apollo. And I've been playing him a lot. I enjoy playing him. He's a lot of fun, and I'm just really, really happy with the way these patches are becoming more golden.
Yeah. I really like the fact that they're actually and it's been happening over the past several weeks now. Hi-Rez has been moving more in the direction of the balance adjustments, and it's making it so much better because you and I both remember times when you'd get into a game and you'd be like, all right, please, I hope they don't pick Thor, or hey, I hope they don't pick this god or you'd be like, I have to ban that god, or you'd see that god in lane and you'd be like, oh my gosh, run, it's them. For example, hell. I'm really happy now where I enter the game and now it might be because I've been playing the game for a little while, or it could just be, hey, Hi-Rez is doing a great job, but you enter a game and I feel like almost all the gods are balanced perfectly. Where there isn't that one god where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to play against them.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think the biggest feeling of what you were talking about earlier is when Agni was bugged and his Flame Wave double hit.
Yeah.
You go into a ranked match and then you see them first pick Agni, your eyes just narrow and you stare at the enemy team, you're like, you would.
Yeah.
You would. You son of a gun, you so would. You're scum. That was just the worst feeling in the world. But beyond that.
You're better than that.
Right? God, you coward. But I definitely agree. They're getting better at the balance changes and working that more into the overall game. And it seems to be fitting together really nicely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we go ahead and round out the show, guys, we're going to do 3 questions from chat, and then we're also going to do a 400 gem gift giveaway. But before that, I just want to remind you guys, make sure you guys do go ahead and check us out on iTunes. Our iTunes section is continuing to grow. If you're at work, if you're at the gym, if you're on your way to work, and you enjoy listening to something when you're at work just to drown things out, or when you're on your drive to work, make sure you check us out on iTunes. If you're catching this show a little bit late, if you didn't get to check out the live show, please go ahead and check it out on iTunes. We're the only podcast on iTunes right now for Smite. So
and the best.
What's that?
And the best.
That's right. The only and the best. And it's you could go ahead and search under Smite Update, or you can go ahead and check out the link in this VOD if you're watching it on YouTube, or if you are in chat, I did go ahead and just link it if you're watching it on Twitch. So please make sure you guys check it out. And if you do like what you're seeing, please go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate it. And outside of that, that's my housekeeping deals there. I will let you, Dry Bear, take over for 3 questions from chat.
Well, the first one that came up is, do you guys think Apollo is underpowered? I'm going to shoot this to you first.
Sure. Underpowered. I don't think, I look at the other end of the spectrum, I don't think that any god in the game is overpowered at this point. Now, as for underpowered, I'm going to say no. I played Apollo for the first time, and the first 3 games, I won every game with him, with a positive score, and I was super comfortable with him. He wasn't a hard god to play with, so my answer to that is no. I think he is perfectly balanced right now. What are your thoughts?
I think in a completely even match and possibly in a competitive setting, he might be slightly under par, but only just, and it's only because he requires, a very, a more finesse than most gods do. And one of the biggest downsides is that Mesmerize requires melee range. But beyond that, I think he's a very good character. I think he has really good scaling. I think his passive fits into his carry role very, very well. I'm really happy with the overall interaction of Apollo. I just think he's a little bit more challenging than most gods, and requires much more game understanding, just because his Mesmerize could be a counter to a lot of a lot of channeling abilities, a good animations. You really need to understand what all the animations are in the game, what abilities should be interrupted, what shouldn't, and utilizing that mesmerize properly is really the key to playing Apollo competitively, which most players who pick them up won't have a deep understanding of how the animations work, what abilities are bad or what abilities are good, anything like that. So it requires a lot more finesse. And I think at the highest level, he's very, very, very good if played properly. But it's just one of those ones where it's just like there's that ceiling that's pretty high on Apollo, and you have to understand him just like deeply, which people won't for a couple weeks.
Yeah, now that I look at it, I think I understand that a little bit more when you come to when you mentioned about as a beginner, I can see some of Apollo's abilities to be a little bit harder for a newer player to gauge. As somebody who's been playing the game for a pretty long time now, it's very easy to pick up a new god, but I have to think of it from all perspectives. So I do agree with you. He might be a little harder to play for new players.
So let's see what else we got in chat. Favorite DBZ character. There was another one I wanted to look at.
Sure. Post your questions, people. Post your questions. Come on.
Do you think the new portal item could drastically alter the course of a match? And again, we touched on this a great deal when we talked about the portal item specifically, but the portal item is fine for the main reason that you're sacrificing an active slot to get it. It also has a lot of downsides in that the portal exit is very visible. It's also destroyable by a single basic attack if found. So there's a lot of downsides to portal. There's some upsides, and it's one of those things that has to be utilized effectively. But I think with the fact that the portal exit can be destroyed very easily and found very easily, and the fact that you're sacrificing an active slot to get it, I think it's just one of those things where it only works if you're playing with somebody and you utilize it heavily in the early game, much like the meditation would be. Is like late game, the meditation does nothing for you, but early game, if you can get it to fit, it might be good enough.
Yeah, the teleport's good. Is it enough to change like the game and the tides of a game? I want to say no. I think it's a good ability, but I think it might drop off eventually. I've only seen it once or twice, in all honesty, in games over the past week or so since it's come out. But I really like it. I think I'm eager to see what the competitive scene does with it. I'm not a top tier player. I'll be the first to admit it. But I want to see what some of these top tier, high caliber teams do to use Portal. Or they might say, hey, it's not worth it, and they just don't get it at all. But we'll definitely have to see,
Yeah, I think it works well on a support tank in the side lane to help your carry get back to lane or anything like that. Or you could do, you could have, do Fire Giant. You could have, one of your main characters tank the Fire Giant, and then when he gets really low, you can have him go home, heal up, and come back, and now you have the Fire Giant, and you haven't lost any face or anything like that. So there's small little effectiveness you can use for or anything like that, but I think it requires a lot of coordination to use properly. And I think in a competitive setting, it really shines, but also in a competitive setting, if people know you have Portal, they're going to be actively looking for where you place it. I've been in a couple matches where I knew, the enemy had a portal, so I would just go walk to buff camps and look at Fire Giant. Oh, here's your portal smash. So it's just all of a sudden it just gets countered as soon as people start to realize that it's there. One cool trick that I saw someone utilizing in a ranked match, they picked up Portal, and what they did is they put the exit portal inside their tower, but on the back side, so the hitbox is on the back side of the tower. So the only way to kill that portal is by coming from the back side of the tower instead of coming from the front, because if you try to hit it, you'll hit the tower instead. So they put it inside the hitbox of the tower, which is really, really effective, and I like that a lot. But again, it's just one of those things where it kind of works, kind of doesn't. And just, once people start figuring out how to utilize it and how to react to it, it's just okay, he's got a portal, let me go check all the buff camps really quick and smash it, because it's you can't hide that thing. That thing is just gigantic and shiny. So I think that's just really what it comes down to with the portal. But we can pop into the next question. There's been a few so far, and I think this one has been repeated a couple times in chat, so we'll go ahead and touch on it. Which god should be added? I'll go ahead and shoot this to you first.
Sure. I don't know. I can't really say okay, this specific god from this background should be added. But what I'd like to see is another stealth type of god. Right now we only have Loki being the only god that actually can go invisible, except if you count Hades when he bugs out. But Loki, is our only stealth god. I'd like to see more of that. That is its own type of gameplay. I mean, as we talked about, some of the items that we saw earlier, where like it's only specific to Loki with that burst damage. Let's see some more assassin style gods like that. So that's what I would like to see. What about you?
This gets asked a lot in streams, and my answer is always we need everything. There's just not enough gods in this game for me to pinpoint exactly. I mean, I guess more physical tanks. We have a lot of magical tanks, or
Sure.
possibly some more viable melee physical carries that aren't brawler-esque.
Sure.
I think we really only have Monkey and Thor that I would count as melee physical carries. So it's difficult to pinpoint that specifically. But I think it's really important to just take stock of the fact that we're kind of low on characters in general.
Yeah, yeah. No, we'll have to see what kind of occurs there.
So
Do you
that's going to
have?
be the end of the show pretty much, guys. We have the gem giveaway in chat right now. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, you are missing it because it happened yesterday and you are not here for it. But we're going to do that in chat, and we'll go ahead and hop into the exits. You got any shout outs for us?
Sure, definitely. Make sure you guys go ahead and check me out on Twitch. I stream live. Most of my streams are about 3 or 4 times a week. It'll range between Smite, StarCraft 2 with Heart of the Swarm, and also DayZ right now. Trying to get more and more into DayZ. Really enjoying the game. But I like to do a lot of giveaways. I got a lot of good feedback recently, and it's kind of helped to push my viewer numbers and followers higher. So if you want to check that out, that is twitch.tv/OctanePro SCII. Also, I'm constantly uploading videos onto YouTube a few times a week, and you can check those out. They're not only casted games that I do put up there, but I also put up some gameplay as well. Recently, I had some Apollo and some Thor gameplay, and you can check that out at youtube.com/OctaneProSC2. What about you, good sir?
Well, first thing, we have Daigo in chat from Nexus Esports, who's been doing a lot of interviews. He's done one with Curse, and then one before that, and also finished one with me, Resident Bear, as well, which is up. And you can find that in the description and also annotated on the screen if you want to go check out the interview. And he is also doing one with Octane. I don't know if you've done it yet or not, or if it's going up. Or
Not yet. It's coming up. It's coming up.
So definitely look out for that, and me having an interview coming out with Octane to get his spotlight in that business. Getting all that E-fame, and figuring out what the story of Octane Pro is and where he came from, type thing. Sure. So you see that coming up soon. But if you want to check out the Curse interview or the interview with the Bear, you can check that out in the description as well. See what we'll do with that. But beyond that, I mean, you're probably watching this on my channel, so you're already here, or watching it on my Twitch stream, so you're already here or there, or everywhere, either way. And you can also check me out on the High-Res Smite Game channel from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. Eastern. Weekdays, and then also casting all day on Sundays, and just you'll find me around, so you can just find out where the bear is and follow it through. But beyond that, we're happy to bring you these little analytics and analyses of these patches and what goes on, and especially getting really excited about the new gods that come out at every patch or every other patch. So it's just really cool to see how the game is evolving.
Sure, definitely. Well, outside of that, guys, thank you very much for watching for tonight. Make sure you check us out next time we have a patch. We'll try to get this out a little bit sooner than what we did this week. And until then, take care.
Absolutely.